Hi everybody, Scott Hogan coming to you from the Scott Hogan Golf Performance Center. Today we want to talk about short game, planning your shot, and also how to execute short game shots when you're around the green, all the way out to about 50 yards. So this is a topic that I find very, very interesting when we start looking at amateur players to professional players. Amateur players consistently have a process that they struggle with that doesn't make sense, and in reality they're planning shots that are not going to be successful no matter how good they hit the shot. The only way they're going to work is if something lucky happens. So that's something that doesn't promote good reinforced habits. And then when they find themselves on the course the next day, or even the next hole, they're going to find that they struggle, and then they think that they're inconsistent, which in reality the inconsistent part is in how they're planning for the shot. So we're going to use our Jack Nicklaus Perfect Golf Simulator. I love the software because it lets us practice on real course situations, just like you were to have a practice short game area, but you can have it out on the real golf course practicing those shots. So we're here at the TPC at Deer Run, and we are going to practice on the first green here. And we're going to start talking about short game shots. So we are going to go to, you're going to see there's about 6 pins, I believe, up there. And you're going to see that we have 33 yards to the number 0 pin. So that's the pin right in the middle of the green there, and just past the 3rd pin. So as we start talking about short game shots, a couple of things that we want to look through is, as we're going through a process, what do I see amateur players do? Well, I see them say, all right, it's 33 yards to the hole, and that's about it. If that, they might get that. Then they just look at the target and they say, all right, here we go. I'm going to hit my 33-yard shot. All they're looking at is the flag. They hit it, and guess what? The ball goes way over the green, and then it lands. Sometimes they'll land it right by the hole, and they'll say, oh, that should have stopped. And in reality, the ball did exactly what it should have done. They even hit it good, but now they have a negative reaction to the result. That's the key that you want here, is when you're hitting shots, you need to, if you hit it well, if you strike one well, you need to say, all right, hey, I did that well. Your brain recognizes that. When you tell it that, that's a process that you have to go through to reinforce the good habit and say, yes, I did it well. You just have to realize, all right, my process wasn't very good. And that's something that's so valuable anytime, including the wintertime. I think that's the most valuable time to be working on your game, is how do I select what I'm going to do and get that process going. So I'll show you what I would do on this shot if I was to go through. So again, you saw how short the amateur process was. So if I'm looking at this shot, I've got 33 yards. I know the flag's in the middle of the green. So I'm guessing right now I've got about 20 yards, maybe 15 yards to the front edge of the green. So I don't have anything in the way. I'm in the fairway. I've got a fairway lie. So when I'm looking at this shot, I am going to say, all right, I think I need to hit one a little lower because I got a lot of green. It's uphill, and I can let this ball chug a little bit if I can get it just to kind of run up there just a little bit. I'd chip everything with my 60 degree. I would use that shot here because I don't really want to run it through the fairway. I want to land it on the green a yard or two, and from there, let it run up there. So I've gone through my shot, so my goal is probably to land this about 25 yards maybe. It's about 15, so I'm actually going to say I want to land about 20 and then let it run the rest of the way to the number 0 pin. Okay, so I've come up with my process there. Again, that took a minute or two to articulate. In my practice, that takes 5 seconds because I've done it so many times. So it's immediately looking at the shot, this is what I'm going to do. So now that I've come up with those numbers and the shot height, what I want the ball to do when it hits the green, now I can go ahead and play my shot. So what I want to do is I'm going to start looking at it and say, hey, I wanted to hit a low shot, so immediately I'm going to put the ball back in my stance. When I put the ball back in my stance, that immediately moves the club head back, which puts my hands forward. I don't have to put my hands forward. I just move the ball back, and now the loft on the club comes down. That ball's going to go lower, and it's going to run a little bit. So I also know where my number is. I'm not trying to land it all the way to the hole. I'm trying to land it shorter, which would be right around that number 3 pin actually. So that number 3 pin is in a good spot. And then I try to run it the rest of the way. So we're going to hit the shot. Let's see what we get. So we hit the shot, actually hit it pretty okay. I did land it. You saw it landed 59 feet if you saw it there. So I did land it right around 20 yards, but it only went 81 feet, which is about 26, 27 yards. So I was about 17, 18 feet short. So I can say, all right, I hit the ball pretty good. I went exactly to the numbers I said. The result didn't work out exactly how I wanted to. So a couple of things I can do. Now when I hit this next shot, I can either go lower or I could fly it a little bit farther. My 20 number might not have been good for 20 yards of carry. I might need 23, 24. But all of a sudden now, we're making a correct assumption of what we can get better at other than trying to fix technique or anything like that. Now I'm working on something that's very simple, something I can practice, and I'm going to get better faster. Now, the other thing that I would do is I would just practice this process, and why I love having a setup like this where I have flags everywhere. Let's say I wanted to go to the number 3 pin. Now that pin, we know, I just landed it right by it. We know it's about 20 yards away. So we know the green, it's close to the green, so we know maybe it's about 15 yards or so. So we don't have as much green, so I need it to stop quicker. So now I'm going to say, all right, if I need it to stop quicker, I need it to go higher. Now I can move my ball position a little bit forward and then get the ball to go higher and hopefully stop quicker. So let's try that for that front pin there. So I hit it a little higher. I flew it a little too far, but the shot was pretty good. It was 30 feet to the other pin that I had set, but you saw that shot worked out pretty okay for where it was. It was probably 6, 7 feet away, so that wasn't too bad of a shot. You can see as I go through, I can work my way around the entire green, going through my process and getting faster and faster and faster so you don't feel like you're holding up play. So that's the key that we want to start going through. Is as we start practicing in the winter, especially on short game, a lot of people say they don't want to do short game inside. I love it because, again, I can practice on actual holes that I would never be able to practice on. And all these holes are designed with, they get the maps from satellite imaging, so the slopes, everything's correct from that standpoint. So you can start working on shots exactly how the courses are played. So the biggest thing is get your process to go with it. What are you going to do? Practicing, planning your shot is a huge deal. If you do that, I promise you it will shave many, many, many strokes off of your game because you won't be hitting shots that feel good, that go over the green. You won't have to make compensations where the ball comes up short, and then you're going to be ready to go. So practicing your plan in the short game, way to go. Help you get more shots on the green, closer to the hole, which is really going to help lower your scores.